What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of GG Gaming. I'm your host, Andrew, and with me, we got a full house. We got Alpha Stoutland.
What's up, guys?
We got PapaGenos.
Hey, everybody.
We got Apocalypso.
Hi.
And a very special, awesome, legendary, mythical beast of a man, Rob Paulsen, producer and editor of Game Explained.
Woo woo.
Well, thank you for all those descriptors. I'm pretty sure none of them are warranted, but thank you very much for having me. I'm always happy to be here and to just do cool discussions about games with cool people.
Nice. Well,
Wait, does that mean I'm actually cool for once?
Yeah.
I mean,
so.
in my eyes, you are. So for what that's worth.
Well, we also can't see you, Apocalypso. So
Yeah.
in whose eyes, technically?
Right.
But anyway.
Weird.
So let's just jump into it because we got about an hour. Start by what everybody's been up to, and I think we're going to start with our special guest, Ash. What have you been up to for the past week?
Well, I've just been, working as we all are, and for those of you who don't know, Game Explained is kind of like my side thing. I am not full time there right now, just because it doesn't, pay the bills necessarily. So I actually work for a company called NRM Streamcast, where I head up their Geektainment brand, and I'm basically creating, or I will be creating, gaming content for their own proprietary streaming platform. So I've been doing my full-time job, but in terms of other stuff, I just got back from Evo, where my wife and I kind of took a little Vegas staycation, and that also coincided with Evo, so we did that. And I'm trying to think, I'm getting set to go to Michigan Comic-Con in a week, and then PAX after that. I've been playing, Bloodstained, been really having a great time with Bloodstained. Let's see, what else have I been playing? Super Mario Maker 2, of course. Although I'm one of those jerks who just plays other people's courses. I don't have the time or desire to make my own, because I learned very quickly in Mario Maker 1 that making even a decent level takes a lot of time, and I just don't have that time. So I've been playing Bloodstained and Collection of Mana, of course, and I've been trying to get in some time with Hero and Smash Ultimate. And I'm really excited about the Grandia HD collection getting a release date finally later this month.
Wow, I don't even know about what Grandia is.
Oh, really? Oh man, Grandia was like a formative JRPG in the PlayStation Saturn days. It had 3 games. The third one's 4 games. The third and fourth one's but the first 2 games are legendary in quality, and I recommend them to anyone who likes JRPGs.
Is it on Chrono Trigger level?
Well, no, nothing is on Chrono Trigger.
I know.
Is there anything on Chrono Trigger level?
No,
I mean, yeah.
No.
Exactly. But no, they're great games, and I highly recommend checking them out for those of you who have never played a Grandia game. They're really cool.
I've literally never played Chrono Trigger.
I know.
You're missing out.
Amazing.
Wait, who here has not played Chrono Trigger?
Me.
Just you and Dan.
Yeah.
Get off the show. No, I'm kidding.
I know you and Brandon have always been like, dude, it's such a good game.
You have
I
so
just
much
need
time
to play
to
it.
play.
I need to find it. If they ever bring it to the Switch, I'll probably try it out, because it came out on the DS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, PlayStation 1, DS both had re-releases.
And I would say, like other than the Steam port finally being updated to be really good now, other than that, I would say the DS version is the definitive version. So if you're up for playing it on DS, I think that's the best experience you can have playing Chrono Trigger. Just by all means, never ever play the PS1 version. It's actual garbage. Don't play it on that.
That was the first version I played it, the PS1.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine having that. I mean, I guess if I don't have anything to compare it to, then I would consider that to be the benchmark. But after having played the Super Nintendo version so many times, I'm like, oh my god, these load times. Oh my god, why does the music sound like it's coming out of a toilet? Oh my god, none of this sounds right.
Yeah, I didn't have an SNES growing up. I had a Sega Genesis, so I didn't play Chrono Trigger till the PS1, and I thought it was amazing because I didn't have a better version of Chrono Trigger to compare it to.
Well, that's good.
So
The first
Chrono Trigger
console
was one of those games that is actually, I think, one of the first games I ended up, early days of computers, I emulated it because it was a tough one to find. So it was one of the first games I emulated, and then after I got into just collecting old games and stuff. I mean, I had a pretty good collection at the time. I was like, that's one of the gems from the Super NES I gotta find. I got it before it got stupid expensive, so I have it for Super NES, but the first time I played it was actually emulation from a friend's suggestion.
Nice. You know what's so funny about that is that, like, used game culture is completely different in Japan, because I've been in Japan a few times, and I usually go to Super Potato. And,
oh, dude,
like,
I've been there too.
Oh, it's great. I love it there. But you can pick up like a sealed box copy of Chrono Trigger for the Super Famicom for like 1,000 yen, which is basically like $9. It's crazy.
Wow.
How cheap. Maybe let's say more like 15, but still like 1,500 yen. But still, like I was able to get that and boxed copies of Mother 2, FF4, 5, and 6.
Wow.
And I think altogether it was like it cost me like $40 or so.
What?
It was crazy.
Yeah, crazy. The prices in Japan are insane, and yeah, definitely. If you ever go to Japan, go to Akihabara, go to Super Potato. It's a little tougher to find. Everybody was like, "Oh yeah, it's really easy to find. It just has this big potato sign," but it's actually like almost in like a back alley.
It is.
It's
weird.
Like the Sega arcade. But yeah, if you can make your way over there, yeah, it's pretty great. And there's some other great stores. Like that whole strip is just nothing but great video game stores. So. Yeah, the prices are amazing in Japan because their whole culture is like, I don't think they have video game renting, so a lot of people buy and then sell back. So of course, us foreigners are awful. We go over there, we buy the games, and we're never going to sell them back. But yeah, that's their culture for buying old retro games.
So with that in mind, is digital gaming there, like streaming gaming, more popular than owning physical copies?
You know, I don't know where the breakdown lies on that in Japan. I mean, I think digital is up in every market as far as I know, in terms of the overall trends, but I don't know if digital is bigger or smaller in Japan than it is other territories. But I know there are plenty of, obviously, of Japanese streamers who stream fighting games and other stuff, so I don't know.
Okay. Apocalypso, you wanted to say something? I think I cut you off.
All my knowledge of Japanese city geography comes from Persona 5.
Nice.
I literally know nothing firsthand because I've never been outside the United States whatsoever.
Oh man, if you get a chance, travel. Like sometimes people ask me, like, what's like I'll have like college or high school age kids ask me at conventions, do you have any advice for getting into the industry? And I'm like, I'll give them my usual spiel, like, start a blog, start, a YouTube channel and work your way in. It's hard, but you can do it. But more than that, screw games, screw YouTube, whatever. While you're young, go travel. Travel everywhere you can, every country you can. It's the best way to learn about yourself and about the world. It's like super quickly. It's great.
Well, that brings up a good question of what was your start for you? I know what works for one person doesn't work for everyone, but what's the story of your start into it?
Well, I've had a really weird kind of career path into what I do now. I started off basically as a kid. I lived for the days that I would get a new EGM or new Nintendo Power or Game Informer or whatever. So I grew up wanting to be the next Crispin Boyer or Sushi X or what have you. I wanted to be one of those guys, like an EGM. And of course, by the time I hit college, magazines were on their way out. Print journalism was dying, and it was all about video and online and so I started, I didn't want to do that as much, but I still started writing for a super small site at the time called, what was it called? GamesAreFun.com.
I thought you were going to say Game Explain.
Oh my God, right? No, it's not there anymore. And prior to that, I had written reviews for, of all places, like GameShark.com and things like that when I was like 15 years old. And so I just started writing my own reviews, doing my own content, and kind of shopping it around where I could. And eventually that landed me a position at Examiner, which doesn't really mean much because it's kind of like, it's not around anymore, but it employed civilian journalists, essentially, whether they were qualified or not. Thankfully I was. But I covered various E3s and things and games, and even went on some international press trips for the Examiner. And then that folded, and somewhere around that time I was covering E3, and I went to the Pokemon X and Y developer roundtable that year, and I sat down next to who I didn't know was Derek from Game Explain. Wow. And he saw my name tag or hit my badge. I saw his, and he was like, "Dude, I'm such a fan of your work. Like, I've seen your stuff. You do great stuff." And he was one of the few people at the time. This isn't an issue anymore, but he was one of the few people at the time who didn't automatically bring up my dad when he met me. And that was kind of like my filter, where I love my dad and I respect his work and I'm so proud of him. But if you're going to talk to me. Don't just approach me to ask about my dad. And he didn't even bring up my dad. And so, I was like, oh, this guy's really cool. Then I realized he was Derek from Game Explain, and I'm like, holy crap, I love your stuff, because I'd just gotten into the channel as a fan through Andre's Starcoin videos for New Super Mario Bros. U. So, yeah, and I was like, dude, I would love to do some collaborative content with you guys, and one thing led to another, and so I was a guest on Derek's post-mortem discussion for A Link Between Worlds. And then ever since then, I'd been kind of a special guest for like a year, and then finally people started making fun of he's the third Game Explain guy, stop calling him a special guest. So then I kind of was grandfathered into the main crew, even though I can only do it part-time a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's kind of like what happened. It's kind of like what happened to me with this podcast. What happened is, Chris was Alpha Stoutland was not available, and I think neither was PapaGenos. So Andrew was the only one available to do it.
I was just reaching out to the community. I was like, "Who wants to be on?" And it was you and Pineapple Patch.
Yeah.
Who he hasn't been on since. I haven't heard from him, but you kept sticking around. And I was like, "Yeah, come back on. Yeah, come back on."
Yeah. So I just kind of upgraded from a guest star to co-host.
And that's the benefit of having a big group that. If somebody's busy, you can just be like, "Hey, Can you make it?" "Yeah, I can't." "Well, can you make it?" "Yeah, sure." And so it's great that we're getting a bigger scope, and of course we have special guests like Ash Paulsen. But it's just cool to have the mainstays, and you have to be able to rotate out so nobody gets worn out and everybody's got a chance to talk. So yeah. It's good to be back, but because I have missed it. I've missed chatting with you guys.
Speaking of talk,
we missed you too.
I missed you too.
Speaking of talk,
thank you, Ash.
No problem.
Okay. I believe the only one. I believe nobody else really got a chance to talk about what they did.
Yeah, I was gonna try to figure out how to segue into that, but who said it? Who wants to go next?
I can make a quick comment on just like the whole traveling and meeting people in conventions and stuff. I don't know if that's exactly what I've been up to lately, because I didn't go to EVO and I didn't go to Gen Con this year. I usually go to Gen Con because my brother's into tabletop gaming. That was also this weekend. A buddy of mine went to EVO. I didn't get to go. I was just texting him the whole time. So, I haven't really been anywhere. But I did go to a lot of conventions, over the last decade or so. And I will say I've met tons of people. I've done some pretty good networking and stuff, met some cool people in some interesting fields, and I totally agree with what Ash said about traveling, and I'll specifically harp on conventions or places where people congregate for things that you're into. If you want to get your name out there or just meet interesting people or possibly get involved in whatever scene you're into, go to conventions, man. I've met people in the comic book industry through that. I've met people in the gaming industry through that, and actually made connections, made friends with a lot of people. So yeah, I would strongly suggest if you get a chance to travel, specifically if you get a chance to go to conventions or any kind of place where people meet up for what you're interested in, do that, man. That's the ticket. That's the trick. It's all about connections, all about who you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's never about your experience. It's about who you know. When it comes to hiring, apparently.
Which is tough because I'm not the schmoozing type at all. I'm not good at networking at all. But it really is about who you know. So that makes it tough for those of us who. It's not like I'm antisocial, but I just don't. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at meeting all these different people and then keeping their business cards and then following up with every one of them and emailing. I'm just not good at that.
And then it sucks that when you actually do, the other person doesn't reciprocate.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, who were you again? I already threw out your info. Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks a lot.
So.
I guess I'm just saying, make yourself known in the scene. Whatever it is, get out there and, I don't know, talk to people or whatever, whether or not people reciprocate.
All right. I guess I'll go next about what I've been doing.
Yeah, sure.
I actually haven't been doing much. I did have a friend over today and we played Smash Ultimate.
Nice.
So he lives he lives really close to me. So he can literally walk to my house. So it's really, really cool. Mm-hmm. He can come over, but he's working now, so he can't come over all the time. But even if he's off, just one day, he can come over because it's super convenient. So I have him over today, and we were playing some Smash Ultimate. Of course, we were playing Hero a little bit, and I showed him how to play him, and we just kind of had some fun being wacky with the character.
What are your thoughts on how he works?
I think Hero he seemed really broken when he first came out. But I think the main issue is that if you use spells a lot, and don't keep track of your mana, you're going to die if you're off stage.
Pretty much.
That's true, and that's why I kind of thought that like the initial calls for Hero being busted and so OP, like there were definitely signs that he might be, but I'm like, you know what, let's give it a few weeks, let's just see how it shakes out. He might still be a little too tough, like the fact that he can do like 65% damage with a smash attack that has a critical hit and powered by oomph is a little nuts, and then he also gets lots of different item effects for free, and I play with items, I play without items, I don't care, but in a competitive setting, a character who can get all these different item effects essentially for free, that's tough. At the same time, though, all of Hero's best things are completely up to RNG. So if you get lucky, then you're going to have a good time. But if you don't, and if you don't keep track of your magic points, as you said, you're not going to have a good time. So
Oh, go ahead. I can just imagine it going like this. So Sakurai gets wind of the competitive scene, how they ban items. So Sakurai says, "Screw you! I'm giving you character with items as part of the moveset."
So good. And I will say that the fact that both Joker, he's considered one of the best characters in the game right now.
Really?
And Hero seems to be really strong as well. Although we'll have to wait a little bit to see how he shakes out, in the whole roster. But they both seem to be very strong characters, which bodes well for Banjo-Kazooie. I hope they're also strong.
Yes.
Don't jinx it. And now they're going to be terrible.
I watched a frame-by-frame analysis of Banjo and Kazooie, and it was not. It did not bode well for the duo.
In terms of what?
Apparently, they have incredibly bad frame data, and most of the moves are very laggy.
We gotta wait till we see the final product
That's
on them. I'm sure they're still in development.
And of course, patches are a thing. So.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't disagree that you can make some informed, guesses from that. I mean, hell, Derek and I did our own analysis of Banjo-Kazooie, but
You guys do analysis of everything,
right? Exactly.
To say that you couldn't do an informed opinion would destroy the core of what you guys
That's true.
do.
Well, but I mean in terms of balancing and stuff.
Yeah,
I feel like the Smash community has a tendency to react too quickly to everything. So it's like
totally agree.
Yeah, so I mean, I get that you can make informed guesses about their frame data and stuff, but I think to conclude, I'm not saying you are, but for fans to conclude, oh, they're gonna suck and whatever based on this reveal trailer, like that's not even their final. That's not how they're gonna play when they come out. Like that's obviously a beta version of the character.
I mean,
we don't even have the full move set, so like even if these like the smash attack's laggy or something like that, it's a slow smash attack. We don't know all their aerials and stuff. Maybe one of their aerials is ridiculously powerful and fast, and a character with just a couple good moves in Smash, sometimes that's how you play them. That's their kit, and if we don't have the full move set, it's hard to say exactly how well a character is going to rank tiers wise.
I mean, everybody thought King K. Rool was broken when Smash Ultimate first came out. Practically everybody in Elite Smash just played King K. Rool exclusively, but now we actually know how to deal with him, and he's not very good.
I remember when Smash on the 3DS first came out, and Little Mac, everybody was complaining about Little Mac, too powerful, and now he's like, Little Mac's my favorite character. He's my main in this game. I'm gonna switch it up for Banjo-Kazooie, so I'm hopeful that they follow the Hero and Joker path and are pretty good. But Little Mac was like complained about, and now he's like bottom tier. So what happened?
Yeah, no, I mean it's always hard to say how a character is going to shake out, but I do think I don't know. I guess for me, and I think this is probably a lot of really big Smash fans. Look, none of us, as far as I know, are good enough to where tiers really matter. Tiers really only matter at the highest level of play. But more than that, even if I was a pro player, I need to have an affinity for the character. I have to like them and care about them. So, I would rather, Mega Man's my main, because I'm, obviously a giant Mega Man fan. I would rather lose Evo as Mega Man than win as, Wario. I don't want to represent a character I don't like.
Oh, yeah.
110% agree with that. I am all about character affinity.
I can totally see you in Evo winning as Wario, and it's by accident, and everyone's cheering you, and you're just like, no, stop, don't cheer me.
Stop.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, I know the moveset of every single character in the game.
But it's
all 70 plus. I have all their movesets memorized. But there's some I like to play more than others because there's some I just don't like for some reason. I don't really like Mega Man that much.
No. I use Mega Man.
He's a super unorthodox character too.
Yeah, Mega Man's so hard for me to use. I mean, he has a great, unique moveset. It's just when I'm running forward, I'm expecting to lunge forward with a punch, not pew pew pew. It's like
Totally.
it's such a learning curve, man. There's just certain characters like that. I'm more the physical type, like the Little Max, the Mewtwo's, and all that stuff. But it just. Yeah,
it's funny that
really
Mewtwo's a physical type considering he's psychic, but yeah.
True. That is
But
true,
no,
man. Yeah.
I hear you.
I
Like
really
Mega Man. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I really hated playing Robin in Smash 4 because you couldn't tell when the tomes were about to run out, and that was super obnoxious.
Right.
But now that you can actually tell when they're going to run out, how much you have left, it's much easier to play the character because you can play strategically, like you're supposed to play with the character. Before, it was a complete guessing game. You didn't know when your tones were going to run out. I was like, why can't I do my FB?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I'll say you guys are totally right. Mega Man has a huge learning curve, especially in the sense that there's no one else in Smash history that plays like him. But he was also my dream character. Like, he was the one for me. And, my wife still tells me that in our 12 years together, she has never seen my face go through the very specific emotions it did when Mega Man was announced, because she was sitting next to me. And so, when I played him for the first... I know, me too. I wish I'd recorded it. But, when I got my, first chance to play as him at E3 and such, I was like, oh, man, he is really tough to play and kind of awkward, but I was like, it doesn't matter. This is my dream character. I love Mega Man. I will overcome. I will learn. And I have, to a degree. I would say I'm a pretty decent Mega Man, but though, of course, when you compare to someone like Kameme, who beat MK Leo at EVO, only to then get knocked out of the top 32 himself by someone else, I'm nothing. Because his Mega Man play is just, oh my god, he's incredible.
Some people are on a whole other level. It's crazy. It's crazy to watch.
Moving on to something else so I can finish up talking about what I did.
Yeah, go ahead.
I released my I spent my first dedicated time in Movie Maker for a project yesterday. I'm doing a video. It was a seven cool custom stages in Smash Ultimate. But I just called it 7 cool custom stages. I basically had recorded. I had replays of 8 custom stages, and then had them without the music, and they were high quality, so they looked really nice. But they didn't have the music, so I could add the music later. And I had to remove one of the stages from the video, sadly, because the music somehow didn't get added, and I couldn't figure out how to add back into the proper place, so I just had to remove that segment.
Did you upload it to YouTube?
I did upload it, but I had to take it down and re-upload it after I noticed a couple of mistakes. And the last battle of the video was I was playing as Joker against somebody else, representing a character for the final stage of the video. And I had my own songs, but not, I had video game music in the video, but normally I wouldn't have the victory music play because the other song would play over the victory screens. But this time I had the music during the stage stop as soon as the announcer shouted game. I worked very carefully to line that up perfectly, and I also had there be a pause, and then shortly after Joker gets revealed for his running thing for victory, I had the Persona 5 victory theme play, and I had it persist even into the outro of my video, and it was a really cool effect.
Nice.
Yeah, you'll have to link that to us. Actually, I know
Yeah,
Ash,
sure.
you're big into music, so
Yes.
that's interesting to have different. So there's different music playing, right? Or you put in the same music.
I don't. I think for a couple of them I might have put in the same music, but I picked different music than the one that was actually playing. Like for
It was Smash music or just your own custom music?
It was like custom music related to video games from video games.
Oh, okay.
For there was a Minecraft stage that somebody made. All these stages were somebody else because I always make my own videos if I'm showcasing my own stage.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel right to lump my own stages in with somebody else's.
Some
Which
people
I-
make some crazy awesome stages.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I need to actually take some time to go browse through them again because I only did right when that feature was released and I never really went back. But I've seen some really good custom stages in various streams, and I'm like, okay, I need to go back and download a decent collection.
Yeah, like there's a Minecraft stage that's in the video, that somebody else did, and it had an Animal Crossing song play on it because obviously there's no Minecraft music in Smash. But for, the video that had, I had the Calm 1 theme for Minecraft, the one that plays at the beginning of every survival game, play during that battle. And then it's funny, the next stage was a DKC stage. So it went from this really calm Minecraft music to Gangplank Galleon.
The remix or the original?
What?
The remix or the original?
The remix.
Oh.
Oh, the superior. Yep.
Nice.
I love
Nice.
that remix.
Oh,
is
it's
awesome.
such a good remix.
It's really good. And on that note, I got to shout out the remix of Crocodile Cacophony because that was one song. It was funny. Prior to Smash Ultimate's release, Game Explain had a video series going that you may have seen called Songs to Smash 2, which I am happy to say was a lot of that was my idea because my mind's always in the gutter and I'm always looking for double entendres. So we went with songs to Smash 2. And in our DK episode, one of my picks that I wanted to see for Smash was Crocodile Cacophony because I love that song. And then we ended up actually getting it, and it's a badass remix too.
Ooh.
Nice.
On that note, does anybody have, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Banjo-Kazooie music, but obviously we got that Grant Kirkhope remix for Banjo's Reveal. What Banjo-Kazooie songs do you guys want, if you're familiar with the series and the music and everything?
All of them?
All of them, yes.
There you go.
My
Perfect.
answer
All right.
to you is yes.
Are you
Topic done.
expecting any Banjo-Tooie music?
I hope so. I'd love to get like Glitter Gulch Mine in there. Like Tooie is overlooked, but it's actually I think a really good game still, especially the Xbox version. And it gets overlooked, but Grant Kirkhope did some fantastic music for the sequel as well. So I'd love to get Glitter Gulch Mine in there. Game, I gotta say, my number one pick would be Freeze Easy Peak.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a
It was
good one.
Yeah.
incorporated slightly into the Spiral Mountain song that he did.
I
I'm
heard
pretty
that.
sure,
Yeah.
For like
Yeah.
a second.
Yep.
But I want a
Oh,
full-on
God, I'm so
Freezy
excited.
Easy Fiasco.
Yeah, I'd probably go with
I'm
either.
just excited.
Personally, I'd probably go with Treasure Trove Cove or Click Clock Wood. I think are probably my favorite tracks
yeah.
from Banjo-Kazooie.
As
And
long
that
as
was
we
actually
have,
incorporated into Spiral Mountain too.
as long as
Yep.
we have the final battle music.
You have to.
Oh,
we have
yeah.
to.
The original is fine.
Especially-
It does not need to be remixed.
Right. Like we got to have that, especially because the Great Ginginator is their final Smash. So it's got to be. They got to have that in there. And I know you guys feel the same way I do. I'm just so hyped. Like I was all of us in the media room at E3, like the whole Game Explain team, we were all bouncing up and down in our seats, and and I was just freaking out. And then you could hear
Why was that
all
not
the
recorded?
audible kind of like the what?
Why was that not recorded?
I know. Well, actually, no. Our videographer did record us, and she tweeted it out. So there was a bit of a recording.
Send us a link.
Okay, we'll do. But yeah, the whole media room, you could hear kind of all it erupted in these hushed woo and whispers like, oh my god, whoa, Banjo! And that was a lot of fun. And Banjo-Kazooie is like my number 3 dream character, and Mega Man was number 1. So like, I'm
Who's
set.
two?
Sora. I still really want
yeah.
Sora.
Nice.
I hope. He's who I want.
When
But-
Banjo got revealed, I literally just shouted, "The leakers were correct!"
Well,
Yeah.
they were.
Yeah.
I don't have any personal connection to Banjo-Kazooie, so that's pretty much all I was interested in, that the leakers were correct.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
when I saw
The Jiggy bounced across the stage, I was just like, I knew it at that moment, but I was still... Actually, it was even before that. I think when it first showed, like, Donkey Kong, I was like, Donkey Kong Country, that's from Rare! Like, Donkey Kong 64, K-Rool, that's Rare characters! Like, are we gonna get him? And then the Jiggy bounced across, and it was like, you know, basically solidified right that moment. Like, yeah, it's gonna be Banjo, but I was still, like, holding my breath until he absolutely was shown. It was just, that was amazing. Amazing moment.
I remember my reaction. I tried to record it, but the recording ended up getting messed up, sadly. But I remember I saw the Donkey Kong characters, and I was like, oh, is it Dixie? Oh, it's Dixie! And I saw the Jiggy go ding, ding. I went, just this big audible, oh,
Yeah.
and just, I was just like, it's Banjo. Holy crap, it's Banjo. And like Dan, I've never played a Banjo game, have no connection to them, but I knew just how big of a deal these guys were. I mean, I personally would have loved Master Chief in Smash, but Banjo, man, absolutely deserves the spot because it's a long time coming. He's back home. It's like the best homecoming possible for a video game character. It's just so cool to see Nintendo actually listen to their fans. It was so cool to see that.
But there was something about the remixes, Smash remixes that I was gonna say, but it kind of moved on. I am planning on making a video, maybe the next couple days, talking about like my top 10 favorite Smash remixes or something. So,
Nice.
there are probably I'm not gonna give it away, but there are 2 Persona 5 songs that are probably gonna be included in the list.
Nice. There's a lot of Smash remixes. There's a lot of Smash music now. So it'd take a while for me if I went through and tried to pick like what my favorites are.
Yeah, especially ordering them. Like, I think I could probably pick 10 of my favorites pretty easily, but in terms of actually ordering them from 10 to 1, that would be really hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that. I will say, though, that I know it upset some people because of, like, Castlevania and such, but I did love that Ultimate gave Mega Man the biggest amount of new remixes. Like, he had more new music than any other series in Ultimate, and I love that. Even with Castlevania debuting in it.
Castlevania got a ton of tracks too. I remember was it last August Direct, the Smash Direct in August, and they were like, they revealed Simon and Richter and like the stage and everything, and then they went through the Castlevania music, and I was like, whoa, that's a lot for a series like
34
still coming in.
I wonder who pushed for that large amount. Part of me wonders if Sakurai was or Konami wanted to push all the music, and Sakurai was like, only if you give us Snake, or like there was something there, like somebody pushed for something there.
Well, based on all like the, go ahead.
I was just saying, I don't know the exact deals that happen behind the scenes and stuff, but Sakurai has worked some serious magic to get all these characters in. So whatever he did to get Snake back and everything, good on him.
Yeah, and I mean, and based on like previous directs and like Famitsu in interviews where he, or columns where he, we get a little insight into his development process and personality. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that was all Sakurai in terms of understanding the legacy of Castlevania's music and wanting to get as much in there as possible, because he felt the same way about Mega Man, and he's gone on record several times saying, video game music is very important, and we hired this whole laundry list of amazing, storied video game composers, and basically I let them choose what they wanted to remix, and it just so happened that Mega Man got the most. But it's very clear to me that he puts a lot of thought and care into the music that goes into the game, at least when he's able to. I think he was completely hamstrung by Square Enix for both Cloud and Hero. Like, even though Hero has 8 songs, it's the MIDI versions, and I don't mind MIDI, but when MIDI sounds that bad...
No, they don't sound bad at all.
You think? See, I don't know. I guess maybe it's just me then, but I was hoping for the fully orchestrated versions of the Dragon Quest themes.
But they are
just because
the latest versions, aren't they?
I don't think so.
Not
because
Dragon
based
Quest
on
11S especially,
right?
And I didn't think they'd sound that bad at first either, Ash. But when I listened to them, I just listened to all 8 songs on YouTube just because I was curious to see what all came with it. Because I heard some playing Hero on the Yggdrasil stage.
Yeah.
But when you listen to them with headphones on and stuff, you just hear the downplaying quality. It's just kind of like, oh, this could be so much better. Especially when you hear so much orchestral music already in Smash, and you hear the stuff from the Dragon Quest 11S trailer, and how awesome that sounds. It's like, man, that would have been great in Smash. But of course, Square had to be cheapskates, just like with
You
Cloud.
say
sadly,
that, but we also have NES medleys.
True, but I mean, true. Yeah.
What's kind of odd is that retro medleys are not considered remixes at all; they're considered originals.
Well,
I think,
the medleys.
And like, you know, I have no problem with like midis and samples. Like, I mean, look, I listen to old school Mega Man music and Final Fantasy and whatever all the time, 8-bit music, but like something about those just didn't sound good to me. And from what I understand, I don't know if this has been confirmed or not, but as I understand it, Koichi Sugiyama, the composer of the Dragon Quest series, intentionally has used low-quality midis for the games because he wants to sell more concert tickets in Japan for the fully orchestrated versions. And I can't personally verify this, but as I understand it, this guy's kind of a scumbag of a person anyway. Like he's like a war crime denier. He's he's like viciously anti-LGBTQ+. Like he's not a good guy. So I'm willing to believe that that's probably true about the concerts.
I didn't know about the concert thing, but I have heard some other rumors about that guy, and just none of it has been particularly favorable. So
he's
I
not a
wouldn't
good
put it
person.
past him.
Yeah.
He's
I
actually
will
the
say this
Draco
about-
Lord.
Oh, sorry, what?
I said he's actually the Draco Lord, but I don't think anybody here plays Dragon Quest and would get that reference.
I don't play it, but I get it because I know enough about the series that I understand. And I have to say, I did a preview, a Game Explained preview of Dragon Quest XI S a couple of weeks ago at San Diego Comic-Con, and I didn't get a chance to play it on PS4, and I'm so glad because they're adding so much content to this version, and especially the orchestrated soundtrack. I loved what I played, you guys. Like this may well be my introduction into Dragon Quest. Yeah.
It actually comes out my birthday.
Nice.
So maybe for your birthday, you'll get into Dragon Quest.
Fellow September birthday. Nice. Mine is September 10th, so it's coming up.
Cool.
Happy birthday, you
So
guys.
you're gonna get Spyro in time for Switch. So yeah.
That's true.
Man, so we didn't get around to what you've been up to, Alpha, but we've kind of been jumping around here and there, going back and forth between what everyone's been up to. Did you want to quickly say anything that you've been up to in the past few months that you've been done?
Sure, because this is actually probably going to be the last thing I get to really mention because I've got to head out at 8:30. But yeah, it's been a good 2 months since I've been on here, so I've been doing a lot since almost the end of May. It's been almost as long as I've been on here. Wow. But went through Hollow Knight. That was amazing. That game is incredible.
I keep hearing it.
Switch version, hands down, great. I never played it on PC. I actually thought it was a Switch premiere. I didn't know it had been out since 2017, but I'm so glad I waited because I got it on sale for $750. It was a steal. That game is incredible. It's tough, but it's so much fun. It just, it's so good. I could gush about it for a while. But what else? I'm currently soft resetting for Shiny Pheromosa and Ultra Moon that my buddy Ryan let me borrow because I have Ultra Sun. So I'm currently soft resetting for her. Ryan, my buddy Ryan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But that
Wreck-It Ryan?
Ryan, he's a guy from my church.
Oh,
he's actually one of my youth who's graduating and heading off to school this week. So
the way you said it made it sound like I knew.
That's true. Yeah,
like Ryan, like this guy.
But yeah, went on a mission trip with my church back in June. Just trying to get my brother ready for school because, like I said, he heads off next week. So that's going to be different. Yeah, that's going to be very different because he's got a full ride. I'm gonna brag on him a little bit. He's got a full ride to NC State University. He got the Goodnight Scholarship, which is less than 50 people in the state get. So we are super proud of him.
Congrats.
Congrats.
He's worked his butt off, and we're very proud of him. But yeah, just, I'm actually currently playing Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, because Eevee is better than Pikachu. And I actually forgot, I don't like it as much as, say, Fire Red, because one, it's Kanto over again, rehash, but I was like, I'll give it a chance. It's $30 on Amazon, but it feels so much slower than even Fire Red. It feels like I'm just drudging along, and it's just
slow in what aspect?
I don't know. Everything seems to just go by so much slower. I don't know. I haven't enjoyed it as much as Fire Red, which that might be nostalgia talking because Fire Red was my very first Pokemon game ever, and I love it dearly even today. But I'm looking very much forward to Spyro Reignited coming out on the Switch. I will be getting that. My first Spyro game ever, and I'm very stoked because I've always loved Spyro since I was a kid. I just never had a PlayStation or anything with Spyro on it. So, well, I had a PlayStation 2, but it's kind of good that I skipped out because I've heard the original 3 and the trilogy were like the best in the series, and everything since then was kind of eh. So, but yeah, this will be my first taste of Spyro, and I actually did, speaking of Dragon Quest XI-S, did go ahead and pre-order that on Amazon. Nice. So that will be my feet getting wet in the series because it looks so good. And I do have to contribute part of that to Hero because it really was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I went back and watched the trailer and took off my bias goggles, and I was just like, holy cow, this game looks amazing. So, yeah.
And it's so funny how many fans have they'll talk to me on Twitter about Hero, especially when Hero launched. You're like, oh, it's cool, but Hero has no hype. Nobody cares about Hero. It's all about Banjo-Kazooie. And I'm like, you got to take off your lens of being in the West. Yes, from your perspective, from our perspective, Hero's not that big a deal. But go to Japan. If you watch Japanese reaction videos, people lose their minds, and deservedly so, because Dragon Quest is one of the most important series in gaming ever, and it's seminal in terms of JRPGs, and that is a huge deal in Japan, whereas a lot of Japanese players, on the other hand, were like, Banjo-Kazooie, cool, yeah, that's great, but not for us. Now that's not true in every case.
I did see several Japanese fans freak out over Banjo, too.
Yeah,
yes,
that's true.
One dude actually had, people have, the VR webcam puppets, like the animals and the anime kids and all that stuff. Well, this guy had a dinosaur, and it was a raptor going go-huh, go, and it was funny because that's the only thing you could understand that he was saying is that, well, Banjo-Kazooie, go-huh, and stuff. Everything else he was just speaking really fast in Japanese, and it's just like you knew he was hyped too. So, and see people here in the West hyped for Dragon Quest 2. It's cool that both sides of the spectrum and Smash fans got something huge that they've been wanting for a while, because like you said, Dragon Quest is huge, and when it wasn't Sora, I was like, oh, I didn't want this. But once I saw the history, stuff like Final Fantasy, Pokemon, Kingdom Hearts, Chrono Trigger, none of that stuff probably would have existed without Dragon Quest. And it really shows you the impact that series had.
I haven't thought about it until you said it, but do you think that they intentionally saved the Hero and Banjo-Kazooie for one announcement at E3 to appease the world on the same day?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I think it was
such
planned.
an E3 thing to do. That was completely planned that way.
Oh yeah. It was fan service and pandering in the absolute best way possible.
I also want to say that I totally called back in December after Joker was revealed that they would save Banjo-Kazooie for E3 because it wouldn't make sense to announce him at the awards. I totally called that.
It was perfect. It was the right time. I mean, that's when Microsoft was there and everything. It was the right time to do it.
Yeah. And I totally recognize that Sora's chances are incredibly slim, but you know what? Cloud got in, and people thought he was impossible. And, if there is one person in this universe who can successfully negotiate Sora with Disney, it's Sakurai. So, even if he doesn't happen, I could never complain because this roster's perfect. But you know what? If there's someone who can do it, it's him. So until the fifth character is announced and it's not Sora, I'm going to keep hope alive.
No, I think
right there, dude.
Surprised me every step of the way. So I never say never with anything in Smash anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Now the only thing unfortunate about it is it will likely get a really cool Traverse Town or Twilight Town stage with 2 songs. That's then this is Kingdom Hearts. Yoko Shimomura, you don't only give her 2 songs.
Yeah.
Isn't she part of making the Smash music? Am I wrong?
She is, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could.
So maybe she'd make an exception somehow. Maybe she'd negotiate with Square. Because one thing I noticed even with Dragon Quest is that Hero, he has the 4 different alts from 4 different Dragon Quest games, and we got 2 songs from each of those games. So I could even see Sakurai being like, man, I need to get more than just 2 Dragon Quest tracks. How about this? Can I buy the rights to 4 different characters or 4 different Dragon Quest games and get 2 tracks from each of those? Because Square has a history of only giving, not only in Smash with Final Fantasy with 2 tracks, but I believe other characters have shown up in other games and only gotten 2 tracks. So I don't know why Square has that rule, but they seem to have that rule. So Sakurai, I think, found a workaround to get us 8 Dragon Quest tracks.
And perhaps the same could be said for Geno with those 2 suspicious songs going down?
I wasn't going to go there, but yeah, it's a possibility.
And the fact that he's not a Mii costume.
Now,
I wonder if all 5 characters are going to be third-party characters, though. It seems to be the theme for at least this Fighters Pass. So, like, I mean, I'm not against Geno. I think, like, I'm not personally like a huge Geno guy, but I would be so happy for his fans if he got in because that's been such a long request. But I kind of feel like if he does, it's going to happen after the Fighters Pass because I kind of think we're going to get all third-party characters.
Yeah,
I could see Geno being a Piranha Plant situation, like an extra fighter at the end or something. But he isn't. He's such a weird case. He's always, anytime Smash rules come up, Geno is always like the weird exception to the rule. Because like, I would completely agree. I don't think we're gonna get anything but third-party characters in this Fighter Pass. And then when I go to classify Geno, it's like, is he third party or is he Mario? Like he's
that's true. You could technically.
So it's odd.
You could technically say he's a Square character, and I actually think legally, I believe he is a Square character, which is the reason he did not make that cameo appearance in the remake of Superstar Saga.
Right.
So, yeah, maybe. Actually, that might be a perfect way to get him in there as a third-party character. That would be so cool.
There's one character who's a spirit who's technically is part of the Shin Megami Tensei franchise, but is classified as a Fire Emblem character because she comes from
Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE.
Yeah,
the classification of some characters, especially crossover characters in a crossover game like Smash, it can get messy and strange, and sometimes it's like the fan rules for where a character goes or what's going on with them. Sometimes Sakurai just breaks those. It just does the opposite of what we'd expect.
Now, if I may be allowed to say something else, because all you guys are kind of talking.
I was calling your name because I was going to try to say, you wanted to say something.
Yeah. Okay, so I think Banjo-Kazooie being both popular in Japan and the West could greatly increase the chances of Shantae being playable in the next Smash game.
I don't know if I'd want her in the next Smash game as opposed to this one, because that's like saying, do you want to lose a bunch of characters to have a character you want? It's like, there's no point in any new Smash game past this one, unless they're going to bring everyone back again, which they said they're not going to. So it's
the thing is,
please don't make a new Smash game. Just keep updating this one, please.
More Fighter Passes. More Fighter Passes over another Smash game. I'm all for that.
It's funny. Because, I know there are some people out there who want a complete reboot of the series, including the roster and change up all the veterans, and I vehemently disagree with that. Like, Andre's one of those people. I love Andre, I love working with him, good buddy of mine, but he's one of those people who has been vocally like, no, Smash has run its course in its current iteration. We need a full reboot. I want every veteran to play differently. And I'm like, no, we're hitting 80 characters. Let's just push it to 90. Let's push it to,
hit
let's
100.
keep going. Yeah, let's hit 100. Just keep
hit 100
DLC.
Then call it in.
I did have more to say though.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Shantae is mostly popular in the West, but she's also becoming popular in Japan.
That's true.
As well too. And considering Japan is the primary consideration when it comes to Smash characters, that does tend to increase her chances.
You know what? I'm so glad you mentioned that, because Shantae, because I have felt a little bit of a groundswell around her recently as well. And this is not, I promise you, this is not based on any insider information. If I had any, I just wouldn't say it. But I kind of feel like, even though the facts fly in the face of her being possible, I kind of feel like there is a possibility there. I mean,
it'd be amazing.
She would be a really cool indie rep. Shovel Knight's already out because of the fact he's an assist trophy. But we don't really know that being a spirit necessarily disqualifies you. And as you said, Shantae actually is popular in Japan. Mm-hmm. And they don't have an indie rep yet. And not that there has to be one, but how cool would it be if indie games did get representation in the roster through Shantae?
Absolutely. Because indies, honestly, deserve a spot at this point, because most indie games are beating out AAA titles. I mean, Shovel Knight and Celeste have taken home VGA awards and won accolades. They're competing with the big boys. They're just as credible as games.
That's because the big boys, the people with the money who are funding the games, are just in it for the money, and they're the ones saying, no, you can't do that, or yes, you can do that. Whereas these indie companies are going in with the mindset of, this is what we want, before they're even making the money.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I do want to I do want to say this real quick because I'm about to tap out. This will be the last thing I contribute because I got to head home. But one thing that really, and I'll go ahead and say Shantae and Sora are tied for number 1. I would love both of them. Other characters like Master Chief, Spyro, Crash, several characters I would be perfectly fine with. But man, those two just have been vying for the top spot since June, July of last year, especially when I learned about Shantae. But one thing that really makes me want Shantae so much more now, besides just her being a great character, a great addition, lots of personality, insane moveset, is her ties to Smash now. Before the Smash ballot, I had no clue who this chick was. I'd never heard of Shantae. I was like, who the heck is Shantae? I'd never heard of her. But now because of Smash, now because of her fans coming out and saying, hey, look at this cool little half genie girl. She's directly tied to Smash. Her popularity, her groundswell, like Ash said, is in part due to Smash. And what better way to honor that, not only being our first indie rep, but being the first indie rep that's really close to Nintendo and really closely tied to Smash, than putting in Shantae. It just makes so much sense. And I know it's a long shot. I know it's a dream that probably won't come true, but man, it would make so much sense.
I mean, she's basically first party at this point, if we're being honest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if not Shovel Knight, she's the obvious, choice. And I have to say, like, I'm surprised because I love them both, but I kind of always figured that Shovel Knight had become a little bigger than Shantae, so if there was going to be any indie rep, it was automatically going to be Shovel Knight. But clearly, that's not true.
He's playable in every game except Smash.
Exactly. So I kind of think it would be a cool plot twist if for Smash, Shantae got the nod because they both deserve it. I'd like to see either of them more than like Sans from Undertale. Like I have no issue with Undertale. It's a great game. I don't really want an Undertale character in Smash though. I just don't.
If for no other reason than a Megalovania remix, that's the only perk. So
I'll take an Undertale stage with like all the Undertale music. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I feel very similar to Undertale as I did to Minecraft. And both those things, I've heard a lot more of like fan demand in recent times, like the last year or so. Whereas I feel like most of the characters we're actually getting in Smash Ultimate are characters that were popular during the ballot days, a few years ago. And who was up there? It wasn't Sans, it was Shantae and Shovel Knight for indie reps. So I feel like if we do get an indie rep, it would be Shantae, probably number 1. That would be my guess anyway.
Yeah, I think so too. And I don't know. I guess other than that, I mean, who knows who the 4th and 5th characters could be. For some reason, I have this feeling that number 4 could maybe be Monster Hunter because that's Capcom's golden goose right now, and it's everywhere. I personally wouldn't be hyped for that just because Monster Hunter isn't really a character so much as it's you being put into that character and kind of you're the hero. And I've never really been a big fan of the whole silent, no personality protagonist thing.
What about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite?
Exactly. Monster Hunter was there, and I mean, it would be impossible to argue that Monster Hunter wouldn't deserve a slot at this point.
I also,
if we got another Capcom rep, I'd want Resident Evil. I just think that series really deserves it. But I could see them going with Monster Hunter.
Yeah, like I would personally prefer Resident Evil, even though I'm not a huge RE fan. But I think that has more. It definitely has more of a legacy in terms of gaming overall. And if we can't get Amaterasu, which we can't, never going to happen. I would like to see a Resident Evil rep or possibly Phoenix Wright.
Never say never.
I mean, Okami, if it had sold better, I would say there would be a chance. But people suck and didn't buy Okami, and I hate people. But
Okami's such a good game, man. I completely agree.
My second favorite game of all time.
Well,
it's awesome. I liked it better than it came out around the same time as Twilight Princess, and there was like all the parallels because of the wolf thing. And I liked Okami better actually, and I'm a huge Zelda fan.
I liked it a bazillion times more. And actually, that was one of the most controversial reviews I ever had on Game Explained because I reviewed Okami HD, and at the end of the review, in like the last paragraph, I said something like, this game is mind blowing. It's one of my favorite. It's just fantastic, and it's a lot better than that other game that other Zelda-like game where you play as a wolf that came out in the same year, and people were pissed.
Good thing you didn't work for IGN. You would have been fired.
It's true, totally. But I mean, but I didn't. I basked in it because it's just a gaming opinion. Whatever, people are getting mad, but whatever. And I didn't think Twilight Princess was that great.
You're not allowed to have an opinion on the internet these days.
No, certainly not.
Not the wrong opinion. You can have an opinion, but it better be the right opinion.
Yes,
That right
yes.
there is the wrong opinion, PapaGenos. You're not allowed
Oh,
to
I'm sorry.
have
I
an
mean,
opinion is
you
the
can
wrong
have any
opinion.
opinion, and it has to be the wrong opinion.
You have chosen poorly.
Yes. You have been. You are the weakest.
Goodbye. Okay. Speaking of goodbye, I have to head out. And if
Okay.
I can make my quick Challenger Pack 4 guess, I'm calling it now, Crash Bandicoot. I really do think he could happen.
I think so too. I think
But
he's
yeah.
Man.
got a
Wow.
good chance.
I know he's probably likely. I never liked that character. I'm sorry.
Oh, really?
I was a big PlayStation fan, and I still am a big PlayStation fan, but something about Crash Bandicoot, just looking at him, makes my blood boil. He just drives me up the wall.
His game drives me up the wall. I hated the first game. I had to drudge through it. I hated it just to get to the second game because I was like, I'm not starting the second until I beat the first. But yeah, that nightmare of a game was finally completed. I'll never touch it again, probably. I did start on the second one, but yeah, I don't like him nearly as much as Spyro, but between the two,
Yeah.
I feel like he's the more popular. I feel like Spyro would have the better moveset, but
Yeah.
I would love Spyro. I will
Spyro. Say, though, I'm about to change all of your perception of Crash Bandicoot forever, because just imagine how perfect that name would be for a Maverick in Mega Man X9, or any Mega Man X
I
game.
remember you saying that somewhere.
Yeah,
and,
it's so
it would be
true,
good.
right?
But would he yell "burn to the ground"?
Oh, I hope so. It'd have to. I mean, you don't get better than Flame Hyanard. I mean, come on.
Well, if Flame Hyanard was in Smash, "burn to the ground" would be his taunt. And
Yes.
every move he'd say that. And in his final Smash, he'd take out a microphone and start yelling it.
Nice. I love it.
On top of his weird mech-up Flame Hyanard.
Yeah. God, X7. Ooh.
I specifically remember I was playing those games throughout college, and my roommate, it was like the one time he commented on the games was when I got up to X7, and he's just like, "Oh my god, that's annoying."
Yeah. No, I showed my wife that, and she's like, "Wait, this has to be like a beta video, right? Like, this isn't the game." And I'm like, "No, they released the game in this state." And she's like, "What the hell? How?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm like,
Well,
we don't talk about X7."
Before we continue, Alpha's got to dip out. Was there any last things you want to say, Alpha?
Just that it was really great to finally talk to you, Dan, and hope to talk to you soon again. And Ash, it was great to meet you, man. Thank you
You
so
as
much
well.
for joining us.
Of course. Thanks. It was very nice to meet you, and have a great rest of the day.
All right. Bye, guys. Talk to you later.
Hi, Alpha.
Bye.
Yeah, I can't believe they even left that in the game.
It's just, well, I mean, I can't believe they really left any of X7 in the game. I mean, I don't know if there's really a single redeeming quality about that game, genuinely. But, and I don't say that lightly. I am not one of those reactionary, gaming critics who's like, this game is garbage and this game is trash. What are the lazy devs? No, screw that. But is there really anything that can be defended about X7? Like, really?
It tried something new.
It did try something new, that's fair. But I mean, I feel like with X6, as bad as it was too, I can point to things like the music. But
I don't
Oh, man.
remember if it was good or bad. I just
X7
don't remember.
soundtrack just didn't do anything for
Was
me.
it bad or it just was meh?
It's just unmemorable. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't memorable in the way that Mega Man music is,
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
a weird thing too when a game has like a certain standard, like Mega Man music, like you said with how many tracks we have in Smash and stuff. Like it has a very high standard. So when you dip below that, even if it's acceptable for some other game series, it comes off extra bad.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because there's that expectation factor, and you're just
Exactly.
like, this is not living up to the first 6 games.
Right. I think actually Mega Man 11 suffered from a bit of that, because like back when it first came out, people were like, oh, the soundtrack is good, but it's not really the style that the series is known for, and it's just not a great soundtrack. But I actually think that it's aged quite well, and yes, it's not anywhere close to the best of the Mega Man soundtracks, but I actually really like it in its own right. Like, I've really grown on it.
Did you continue playing 11 after you beat it?
Yeah, I've continued to replay it in general. I just think it's such a
Really?
blast to just play through. Yeah.
See, I love that game because I'm a big fan of Mega Man in general, but I didn't play it again. I just played it once. And actually, all the Mega Man games I've just played once. And I think 1 through 8 it just comes down to the fact that my first time playing Mega Man was from the Mega Collection or the
the Anniversary Collection
on PS2.
PS2.
So that was the first time I played it. So it was when I beat the first game, I moved on to the second. When I beat the second, I moved on to the third. So there was no replay until 9 and 10. I believe I replayed at least 10. I know I replayed because you played as Chrono Man and Bass. But 11, I just played it once, and I probably also because I had other games to play, and I've just been busy in general. But 11 was fun, but I did not really like the new gimmick.
The double gear system?
Yeah.
You weren't a fan?
Because I felt like it was something that, even though you didn't need to rely on, it felt like they were really trying to push you to rely on it. And I just didn't want to have to use it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I will say I rarely used it in my first playthrough. I most of the time I forgot about it. I used the speed gear a few times, but I almost never used the power gear, and I certainly never used like the desperation ultra charge shot where you use both gears at the same time. But I will say I think the speed gear is cool. Well, actually, I think the double gear system is cool for speedrunners because it lets them break the game in ways that you might not expect. But I agree. I mean, I didn't dislike it, but I don't think it was. It was a game changer for Mega Man or anything. I wouldn't mind if it didn't come back.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. I wouldn't mind if the double gear thing didn't come back too. I actually, it's weird now that you say I didn't think about it that way, but Mega Man 11 I played through once. I have a feeling it's just because I'm busier these days and I tend to just play through games once though. Yeah. But I played through 11 once, and I haven't touched it since I played through it, whereas now I'm thinking back, when 9 and 10 came out, I kept replaying those games. I really liked, specifically 9, for whatever reason, really hooked me. I really liked the music, really liked everything about 9.
Mm-hmm. I loved that. I forget what it was called, the Triple Blade or something?
In 10. Yeah.
That was the best.
The Triple Blade was like 10's Laser Trident, because the Laser Trident in 9 was so good.
Yeah.
And I remember it also having the best shield with the gems. I think it was
the Jewel Satellite. Yeah. It was by far
the
best
shield in all the games.
I will say the Water Shield's pretty good in 10. It comes close, but it's not the Jewel Satellite.
Yeah, I'd always go get the Trident first. Actually, I beat Splash Woman first for whatever reason. I think I just wanted that power up.
Now, did you guys expect any changes from Mega Man in Ultimate after 11 came out?
I was hoping, but I didn't really expect it. I was hoping maybe he'd get like a move from 11 or something, but he already had his trailer establish his moveset, so I didn't think they'd go back on that.
I was kind of afraid that they were going to change his design a bit to match the 11 design. And I don't remember which was announced first, but I think I'm thinking of when a new Smash was announced with Inkling, and before we saw Mega Man at that E3, and when Mega Man 11 was a thing that was, I don't know if it was announced during that time or being heavily hinted at, with the artwork that was in that collection that was, kind of just placed in there by either accident or on purpose. I was kind of wondering, are they going to update his model in Smash to look like this concept art for 11? And I'm glad they didn't, because I like that classic look. It's this perfect mix of classic Mega Man with a little bit of detail to make him more modern, I guess. And then they took those details and put them in his concept art.
When Mega Man showed up in Smash 2, he had been kind of neglected by Capcom for a while, and I loved Sakurai's attention to detail with the character. So I'm glad they kept it. I do remember when Inkling's trailer came out, and we saw Breath of the Wild Link. It was just silhouettes, but we saw Breath of the Wild Link. I remember a lot of people were speculating about which characters might get completely revamped, new designs. We didn't know it was Smash Ultimate. We didn't know the name of it yet, but the next Smash game.
And at the end of the day, even what seemed to be veterans who were getting overhauled didn't really get overhauled. I mean, Breath of the Wild Link, he has a few differences, but not really.
Yeah, it's still Link. I mean, I remember people were talking about like, oh, Mario's going to play like Mario Odyssey. It's going to be all about Cappy, and and that never really came to pass. So.
Exactly. I will say, like, I think it makes sense that they didn't update Mega Man's model, and I think the way he looks in Smash it works really well for Smash. And I think it is a good combination of like the old school kind of fatter look, and then like the newer school kind of more sleeker type thing. But I gotta say, I've always really preferred the later series designs of Mega Man, like 7 and 8, where he's taller and leaner, and 11 might be my favorite design of classic Mega Man ever. I think it's basically perfect.
I love the 11 amiibo. It looks so good. It's one of my favorite amiibos, actually.
Yeah. I just love his in-game model. And the art of him. I just think 11. And what's cool is that the art director, like the guy who did the art for 11, he said something very specific, which to me told me that he got Mega Man, what Mega Man was all about. And he said, Mega Man's like 60% or like 40% cute and like 60% cool or something. He's like, he's definitely cute and has that kid appeal, but he's also got that cool edge to him that has to come through. And I'm like, yes, you get it. He's not just this cute, cuddly boy robot. Like, he's got to have this edge to him too, separately from X. And I think he nailed that.
I feel like
Mega Man.
I feel like the Sonic team needs to hear that about balancing Sonic correctly. I always feel like they go a little too hard in the edgy coolness and not enough. I mean, Sonic Mania, I think, got it right because it went just classic Sonic, but I feel like they need to hear exactly what you just said.
Sonic team needs to hear a lot of things.
Yeah. True. If they're doing anything with Sonic right now other than letting Christian Whitehead and his team go hog wild on Mania 2, then they don't know what they're doing. I mean, or I'll say Adventure 3 because that's been so highly requested. I'm like one of those. I'm not going to call myself a Sonic apologist, but I'm going to say that I don't think Sonic is in such dire straits as some people like to say he is. Like, Sonic Forces was really, really unfortunate, yes, but like, look, Generations was awesome.
Colors was good. I like Colors.
Yeah, and like half of Unleashed was great. Like, I don't think every Sonic game since he went 3D has been terrible.
Now you say
I hate that narrative.
You say half.
Yeah, and I like.
Warehouse.
I mean, I understand people don't like Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. Like, I don't know where that came from either, because people loved those games when they came out. I was one of the people who loved those games when they came out, and I've since seen people go, ever since Sonic went 3D, it's been terrible or whatever. But I think that is a rewrite of history. I like Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. I'd love a Sonic Adventure 3 if they do it good.
Me too. I mean, Adventure was it has aged very badly in my opinion, but it's still like, but that only mechanically. You can still go back and appreciate what Adventure meant and how incredible it was to look at the time that it came out. I think it's still very much able to be appreciated if you can get past how badly the actual mechanics have aged.
Even playing around is different, like selecting tons of different characters in that game, the Chow Gardens or whatever. Like, there was just little things like that did show that they put care into that game. Like, it was definitely for its time. Like, they tried to fill it up. It wasn't a half-assed attempt or anything.
I grew up with Adventure 2, so I think it's probably my favorite Sonic game.
Okay. Yeah, Adventure 2 is good.
I also grew up with Sonic Advance 3. I didn't really appreciate it until I replayed it on an emulator a few months ago. I'm actually stuck in like the 4th boss, so I haven't been able to finish it.
Wait, what was your first Sonic game, Apocalypso?
Probably Sonic Adventure 2.
Wow. I'm an old man. Mine was Sonic 2. Yeah.
Back in my day, Sonic had black eyes.
I did play some of the classic Sonic games because we had Sonic Mega Collection and Sonic Gems Collection on YouTube, but I never really got very far in them. I also played Sonic Adventure a little bit too, but I just spent more time dorking around in the hub areas and actually playing the levels because I could not find where the levels were at all.
Oh yeah, Adventure 1 did not do a good job of kind of like guiding you toward where you needed to go in Station Square and the Mystic Ruins and just kind of where you needed to go to get to the next level. I remember getting stuck there too, but I will say, like, I don't know, like Adventure 2 is a good game, maybe even a great game, but I never liked it as much as Adventure 1 because I don't think I like the mission-based structure as much as kind of that, not like that kind of like exploratory find your way forward type thing. And they completely nerfed Tails. I love Tails. And like, Tails should be his own character and he can fly and he plays kind of like Sonic. Don't stuff him in a mech.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Man, don't stuff Tails in a mech.
I mean, I think they emphasize more on his brains in that game than with his than rather than his just
They turned his levels into like the E102 Gamma levels in the first game, though. So
yeah.
I agree. I prefer Tails being Tails.
I actually like the gun levels, despite the fact I can't handle large levels of noise, like a lot of noise at once. Mm-hmm. I, for some reason, just like when pretty much every time when I booted up Sonic Adventure 2 and went to the stage select, I would almost invariably pick just the mech levels because I just love playing those.
Yeah,
it's fun blowing stuff up. I'm not against blowing stuff up. I just wish I was doing it as E102 Gamma instead of Tails.
And I will say, at least they characterized Tails correctly. Like, he was still really cool and like a hero in his own right. One thing I hate about what Sega has done to like Sonic more recently is that they have like committed the worst character assassination possible on Tails. Because this is a kid who single-handedly saved Station Square in Sonic Adventure 1, right? He was the one who took on Eggman at the end of his story and drove him away from Station Square. This is the same Tails who, years later in Sonic Forces, cowers in front of Chaos Zero and is like, Sonic, help me, what are we gonna do? And it's like, you don't need Sonic to save you. You've already saved the world by yourself. You were in Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. Like, obviously I know the Sonic isn't meant to have like a crazy, legit continuity. But they've assassinated that character so badly.
I don't need no Hedgehog.
I think I think they were attempting something that they explained poorly, if at all. And Ian Flynn, the writer of the Sonic comics, currently attempted to kind of make sense out of it. And it's kind of that there was... I mean, if you think from Tails' perspective, his hero and his best friend died, or as far as he knows. He's gone, and he's a kid, Imagine you're a kid, your best friend and I guess mentor in a sense, the person who kind of saved you from your little being picked on depression and you followed around, disappeared, lost, against the villain, and potentially, they don't know, maybe died, and then you run away. You're probably a little mentally broken,
That's true.
But the thing is, they didn't explain any of that. So
I could see that perspective though. That kind of reminds me of my own perspective on like Hope from Final Fantasy 13, because like people gave that kid so much crap, and it's like, wait a minute, he's like a sheltered 15-year-old who was really close to his mom, who then lost his mom. Like, give the kid a break.
Yeah, there's a lot of just people. The way it seems just looking from the outside, but you kind of have to dig in, like what actually happened. Because in the very first issue of the IDW reboot, they kind of make a quick comment where like Sonic's going to go off and do something, and Tails says something along the lines of like, I don't want to lose you again, kind of thing. And it's kind of like a nod towards like, that was kind of traumatizing in a sense, so it made sense, but hopefully they just don't keep it that way.
I seem to remember there was a Final Fantasy game with a laughing scene where there was just really bad laughing.
Oh yeah, 10. One of my favorite games in this series.
But like the thing is, people make fun of that scene. I've never played Final Fantasy X. I haven't played any of the Final Fantasy games, but people who make fun of that scene just don't look at the context. Like, apparently what was going on, the two characters involved in that scene were in a really stressful situation. They did that fake laugh to try to lighten themselves up, and then they end up breaking into an actual laugh. So you get to hear what the voice actors' natural sounding laughs sound like. And so you know that they're not just bad actors.
No, they're not. I mean, that's James Arnold Taylor and Hetty Burris, who are both, like established actors who know what they're doing. And I will say probably the problem with that scene was the direction of it. That's still early PS2 cutscenes. There were still kind of robotic movements and stuff. So the direction of the cutscene maybe wasn't great, but I think it's great. I agree with you that even though you haven't played the game, speaking as someone who loves it, you're totally right about what that scene was meant to characterize. And they were in a stressful situation. They were depressed, and they wanted to lift their spirits by just trying to fake laugh about something. And I think it kind of became its own meme. But at the same time, I think the fact that they do end up genuinely laughing, and this scene has made so many people laugh genuinely, that they kind of succeeded in that scene a little bit.
Now, I will say sometimes I don't want to say bad voice acting, but like corny voice acting. Sometimes like that can have a special place in my heart. Or any corny weird thing in a game. It reminds me of House of the Dead 2. You guys know the voice acting
like
that,
the Jill sandwich in Resident Evil.
Yeah,
totally.
Like, sometimes I absolutely like House of the Dead 2 always comes up in mind to me, but like sometimes stuff like that like sticks with me, and it actually makes me appreciate the game like more, or it gives me like a certain connection to the game, even though it's like it's stupid, it's badly done, whatever it is. Sometimes it's just I like it. I can appreciate some corny stuff in a game.
When I think of bad voice acting, I think of there's an opening scene in Sonic Adventure 1 where the police are trying to shoot Chaos Zero, and Yeah, I think it's Chaos Zero, and they're just like, oh no, our bullets are useless.
There's so much of that in like Sonic Adventure, and like you said, the House of the Dead 2. I must have played that game like over 100 times, and at one point I had the entire script memorized because I adore bad voice acting. Like I'm like one of the first things I'll introduce to like people who I think haven't seen it is like Mega Man 8's cutscenes and Mega Man X4.
Dr.
Like,
Wally.
I just love that in Zero with Iris's death, like, and Double and X sounding like a child because they didn't understand what he was supposed to sound like at Capcom America back then. And
actually, Mega Man 8 wasn't the voice acting done in Japan by
Japanese her name
natives?
was Ruth Shiraishi, and I know she's like an American-Japanese voice actress who did Mega Man in Mega Man 8, and it may have been recorded in Japan, and that's what they did. They just got the same woman to do X because at that time they were like, whatever, it works, and that was before they kind of had done better with localization and realized that X is supposed to sound more like me or us. He's not, he's post-puberty. He's 17. He's supposed to be 17. He's not Mega Man, who's meant to be like 8 or 12 or something.
You should sound like me, not like me.
Exactly.
Sometimes, like, it also sort of carries over from early NES days when the translations are really bad and like set us up the bomb and those like meme stuff or whatever. Like the bad voice acting kind of harkens back to that, so it has a special place in my heart when a game does something kind of goofy.
Someone
absolutely me too.
I wonder how well a game would sell if it was made nowadays. I had deliberately goofy voice acting and just purposeful mistranslations, make people laugh just while they're playing, even though it's the kind of game that doesn't take itself seriously whatsoever. It just makes purposeful mistakes.
Indie games do so much nostalgia stuff like that. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if a game purposely put in a bunch of kind of corny, weird mistranslations or fake mistranslations. If they did a good job with it, I could see people liking that.
I think it depends on the marketing. If they make sure that everyone knows that it's a parody in that sense, then I can see being successful. But if nobody knows that going in, they're going to be like, this is crap.
Yeah.
So it really depends on how they market that.
Right.
But it would be hilarious. I don't know how much time you guys have left, but before we go, I did want to talk about the fact that tomorrow they're doing a Pokemon, trailer or direct? And so did anybody have direct? Yeah. So did anybody have any thoughts or predictions or anything they want to talk about, what they expect to see tomorrow, or just in general for Sun and Moon, how it's coming along? What are your thoughts on the games?
Sword and Shield, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I really hope we get third evolution reveals for the main starters.
Well,
or second at least.
Or second, yeah.
If that supposed leak that's been getting everything right so far is anything to go by, I think we kind of might know the direction that the evolutions are going in. But regardless, we don't know what they look like. So I'm excited to hopefully...
names and the actual, drawings or designs are always, more fun than just hearing somebody describe it anyway.
Yeah.
The main reason I want Grookey's third evolution to be revealed is I kind of want to... I hope they get, reveal, like, moves as well, like signature moves, because I really want to get a Smash moveset going for Grookey's third evolution.
Dude, it does feel like we need a grass-type final evolution starter Pokemon. We got Greninja, we got Incineroar. Yeah. So, man, maybe we could get Grookey here.
Only if he looks cool.
True.
That's
Is he going to be cooler than?
Not doing it for me.
Is
so
it
far.
cooler than Decidueye? Because Decidueye would have been the perfect third grass starter, especially because his move set would be uniquely around keeping distance with arrows. Like, imagine a character based on Link's bow and arrow, almost kind of moves, like just different types of arrow shots. I think that would be really awesome.
That would be cool.
I think Sceptile would be awesome too.
If I had one.
But actually, Alpha and I had spoken a lot, maybe like a year ago at this point. We were thinking that Sceptile would work great as an echo of Charizard, just swapping a couple of things.
Oh.
Like instead of flamethrower, the flamethrower, he would have maybe something along the lines of like Ivysaur's. I know it's his forward attack and not a special, but maybe some kind of Razor Leaf, or just they could kind of mix up some stuff. But overall, I think he would be good as like an echo of Charizard.
Body type wise, you could definitely move around like him. Besides the wings, I can see that
he wouldn't
getting pretty well.
Now I think if the fan concepts of the Grookey's third evolution, where he's like basically like a drummer. I think if that turned out to be true, that would be an interesting fighter in Smash.
So he'd be a grass-based Edamon from Digimon.
If they could if Grookey's final evolution is like a drummer, I know there was all these rumors back during Smash Wii U 3DS days that the chorus kids or the chorus men from Rhythm Heaven might get into Smash, and it was like, well, what's that moveset going to be like? Is it going to be based on like the background music or rhythm moves? And maybe Sakurai could dust off whatever idea he had for that, if that was true. If we did get a final grass evolution starter from Sword and Shield here and have a music-based or rhythm-based moveset. If it was a drummer, that might fit perfect. It could be a really interesting moveset.
Don't you just love how I asked what you guys thought about for Sword and Shield when we started talking about Smash again?
I know. I just glad
and I have nothing against that. I just thought it was funny.
I can never not get off Smash.
I know.
So I completely forfeit my Smash bias and constant thinking about Smash.
I'm glad you mentioned the chorus kids, because in my opinion, Rhythm Heaven is like Nintendo's secret best series.
Awesome.
Adore that series to death, and I'm still crossing my fingers that Sunku will get well enough to make one for Switch. I know he recently tweeted out that if there is enough demand, that he would certainly consider it. And I just, even if it's just a port of Megamix for Switch, that's fine. I just want that series to keep living, because it's so just abject. It's just pure. It's just so good. It's fantastic.
I'm a huge fan of the Punch-Out series, and I always found the Punch-Out series to be like a rhythm-type game when you really break it down, because it's about following the patterns and reacting and stuff. And I love Rhythm Heaven, too, and I think the HD Rumble on Switch, man, if they made a new Rhythm Heaven and really used the HD Rumble, they could do something cool. They could do something really cool.
They did. They made ARMS.
True.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess to go back to your original question about Sword and Shield, I guess I kind of think they're gonna they might reveal the second evolutions for the starters tomorrow. I think it's too early to get their final evolutions, let alone like their moves or their everything. I don't think we'll get all that. I think we'll get a bunch of new Pokemon, a handful. I think we'll get maybe a new gym leader or two. Maybe they'll expound on the wild area a little bit. The sad part is, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter what they show, because of the whole toxic everything kind of surrounding Sword and Shield right now. Poke Exit and all that. It's just like, no matter what they announce, no matter how cool it is, so many fans are just gonna not even watch or just write it off because they don't have their national decks. And I get it. I get that sucks, but like the realities of game development, just I understand why they don't have it, and it sucks that they're being so toxic about it.
I've seen a lot of people not being toxic about it, but genuinely breaking down the thought process behind excluding Pokemon in order to make better animations and stuff. But then what they show us is reused animations. So if it's true that they really don't have the resources, they should really make it clearer why, because the general consensus of a lot of people right now, and not everyone, but a lot of people, is that you're not showing us, so we don't know yet what exactly you put in, because you took stuff out. To everybody, it kind of just looks like you're being lazy. which, you know, making a game is difficult. We all know.
Yeah, I was like, I can tell you what. There's no such thing as a lazy game developer. There's literally no such thing. It's so hard.
There's the argument that Pokemon is like a multi-billion-dollar franchise, and it's not even their priority. So it's like, you know, I don't know how much of that is true, how much of that is false. Like, what kind of position does Game Freak get put in? How much of a budget do they have based on the money from the entire media franchise? There's a lot of things to consider, and it's stuff that we'll never know. So they need to really explain. They don't have to. I mean, but it would certainly help if they at least explain better without having to reveal everything. You could say, I know there was the mention of, once you play the game you'll understand. Sure, but could you say, instead of when you play the game you'll see, can you say when you play the game and see the new types of animations that many other characters have, or the work we put into a couple of different departments? It might help to break it down a little bit better. But I certainly understand why a lot of people are frustrated that Pokemon have been removed from the game.
Certainly.
But I'm still going to play it, and I know I'm going to enjoy it regardless, but
yeah,
it is a little disappointing.
And that's the thing, though, is like, and you're being completely reasonable about it, and I wish more fans were. There are definitely those out there who are being reasonable about it, but what's funny to me is that all these toxic, enraged, self-righteous, entitled fans who are sending Masuda death threats and making rape accusations, all that stuff, they're all going to buy Sword and Shield.
Yep.
They're all going to, or if they don't buy it, they're going to pirate it. But either way, they're all going to play it. That's the thing. It's like, they act like how this is killing the series and it's over and they're done. No, they're not. They're all going to play Sword and Shield.
A hilarious twist if all the Pokemon are actually in the game, but in the pirated versions, they're not. So people who play the pirated versions are gonna complain about how not all the Pokemon in the game, and they'll be outing themselves as the people who are pirating.
That would be a great 4D chat.
Yes.
It's like, oh no, no, it's like only like 30% of all Pokemon are in this game. Like, what are you talking about? Like I've seen every single Pokemon from every game ever. And it's like, what? I maxed out the Dex and it's only like 30%. Did you actually buy it? No, I didn't.
Yeah,
that would be why.
I'll take it a step further and say I think it would be great if, let's just say that could be the case. It won't be, but let's just say it will, or it was. I think it would be great if, like, if you pirated it and you had the other Pokemon and you tried to transfer, like, Pokemon from Pokemon Bank to fill out your national Dex, it just deletes them. Because I have no like respect or patience for pirates. So I just think that would be hilarious.
Rather than delete them, you get it, but then it reverts into a Ditto.
Oh, nice. That would be good. Or a level 1 Bidoof. It just turns all your Pokemon into a level 1 Bidoof.
I used to. I worked at a retro game store for a while, and so we'd get, tons of trade-ins, like any game store does. And what I used to do is people would trade in Pokemon games, and they would have, all their Pokemon in the game. And so I called it team rocketing the Pokemon. I would take the games that got traded in, I would stick them in a DS or whatever I had, whatever type of game it was, and I would take the Pokemon I wanted, I'd transfer them over to my Pokebank.
Nice.
And then transfer them into my games, like the ones that I wanted. And when they did Pokebank, some of the ones that were like, if you faked a Pokemon, if you used Game Shark or Action Replay, whatever people used at the time, wouldn't let them go into Pokebank. So sometimes I'd get somebody's card and I'd be like, oh man, this is awesome. This person has like some great Pokemon. And I'd go to transfer and be like, no, those are fake.
Nice, yeah. Just go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I just, I did want to talk about something today when we're done talking about Pokemon because, there was something that I just learned about today that is relevant to the discussion we had last week, and I just wanted to add to that.
Well, what was it?
It was about Persona 5 and Smash. Well, okay. Yeah. So, if you're done talking about Pokemon, I guess so.
Well, we might jump around. The way the podcast typically works is a regular conversation with a little bit of direction. So it just depends on whatever anybody wants to talk about, really.
I'm not great with conversation, but yeah, so
just talk whatever you want to talk about, man.
I'm just I'm realizing just how much spirits are inspired by the Persona 5 fusion system. I mentioned last week when it was just you and PapaGenos that there's a certain way, in Persona 5 there's fusion where you have two personas and you get rid of them and you can transfer certain abilities and create a stronger persona, and that's similar to I think that inspired the summoning system of spirits in Smash Ultimate, where you give up multiple spirits related to the spirit you're trying to summon, and you lose those spirits but get a new stronger spirit. And I'm just realizing I'm watching a video where this guy Johnny Awesome, he maxes out all the Velvet Room Confidant, and so he's doing a lot of persona fusing, and I'm realizing that there's actually something in Persona 5 where you leave a persona in the Velvet Room to train and learn new abilities. Sound familiar?
Yeah, the dojos.
Yeah, I think that inspired dojos too.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. I know Sakurai has specifically talked about the persona menus and stuff. So I know he definitely picks and chooses stuff from games and kind of hodgepodges together ideas that he likes. I mean, he's a game developer like that, and with Smash being a big crossover series, obviously Sakurai is looking at all sorts of games, getting ideas from all sorts of stuff. I wouldn't be shocked in the least if Persona 5 was partly where he came up with the spirit idea.
And he's a gamer at heart.
Also there is a group system of group fusion in Persona 5 where you give up multiple personas at once to create one super strong one, and that's just like giving it multiple spirits to create a super strong spirit. So
right.
I could probably create like a whole 20-minute video just talking about all the influences and inspiration that Persona 5 had on Smash Ultimate, and just the UI and the gameplay. It's insane.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, no, I could totally see one being inspired by the other. In this case, Smash being inspired by Persona. Absolutely, that seems like there are a lot of parallels there.
Yeah, I think whether intentional or not, Sakurai as a gamer probably uses a lot of references, and it could be subconsciously just based on what he knows and what he's enjoyed from games he's played. That certainly sounds logical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely.
Definitely. If I was a game developer, I would definitely try to include as many ideas from other games as possible without looking like I copied.
Yeah. Well,
sure.
Apparently you're the only one who noticed, so.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, imitations is the sincerest form of flattery, right? So I don't think it's necessarily a problem if you copy something. Just try to put your own spin on it. But I mean, yeah, there's that. Hey, if you're copying something, it's because they did it right the first time. So
right,
yeah.
It's like there's so many Smash clones out there that basically copy Smash in gameplay, and that's because Smash as a series just it has a formula that just works really well.
Yeah, but it's also the characters that make it so successful. You can have a cloned game that plays exactly the same way as Smash in every respect, except that all the characters are original, and it might flop.
Yeah, I mean, look at games like Brawlhalla and Rivals of Aether. Both good games, great games, as far as I understand, that have their own dedicated fan bases. But those fan bases are always going to be impossibly small because those games don't have Mario, Sonic, Samus, Link, Mega Man, whatever, Sonic. That's just the big draw there.
I think a Rivals of Aether character could be if there was one that was put in Smash, it would be really easy because the moveset's already entirely there. They just need grabs and a final smash and stuff like that, because grabs don't exist in Rivals of Aether. But they already have most of the moveset there, and it would also help create exposure for a game that is a lot like Smash that people might enjoy, because all the characters in Rivals of Aether are significantly different from each other, which is something different than that from Smash. Smash, most of the characters are very similar. Trouble saying that word. And there are only a few of them that have very defining, distinguishing traits that make them play significantly different from all other fighters. Rivals of Aether, they have like mechanics. I've actually played Rivals of Aether, just not very long because I don't have a PC controller, so hard to play with a keyboard.
This is on Steam.
But, yes, it's on Steam.
Okay.
But it's like there's one character, I think his name's Orcane. He's like a dog like dolphin.
Dolphin doll.
and so basically what he can do, he can spit out puddles onto the ground and then turn them into bubbles using one like I think it was his down special or something like that. Or his up special does not propel him upward, instead it teleports him to the puddle on the ground, and if there's no puddle on the ground, it just doesn't do anything. So it's a really interesting mechanic. It's probably one of the most unique characters in the game. And Shovel Knight is in that game, so you can, if you want a Smash experience with Shovel Knight, then you can get Rivals of Aether because it has Shovel Knight in it.
Well,
I mean, any game that isn't Smash tends to have Shovel Knight in it, so.
Right. I mean, and unfortunately,
so Shovel Knight is in Smash now. He's just an sister of it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say I'm part of the problem, I guess, and I put problem in quotes here because I'm not sure if it actually is a problem, but like, I love Smash's gameplay, but I love it as part of what Smash also is in terms of its characters. I've never had any interest, even an iota of interest, in playing Brawlhalla or Rivals of Aether because I don't give a damn about those characters. I'm sure they're great games. I'm not saying they're bad games at all, and I'm happy for their fans. I think it's great they have communities, but personally, in addition to the gameplay, I come for the characters and the celebration of video games that Smash is. And so I just don't, to me, games that play like Smash but don't have those characters don't appeal to me. So, exactly. And so that's just how I am personally, but I'm super glad that those games have done as well as they have, and I think they'll continue to flourish for sure.
That's why Smash reveals are so hyped up, because people want to know who they're going to get to play as next.
Right.
Not what.
Yeah, and part of it too is also just not even like who I get to play as, but like you kind of touched on it, Ash, the idea that Smash is almost like this I don't know what to call it, this altar, this treasury of all gaming history and all-time characters and stuff. Yeah. I love that aspect of Smash, so it's awesome to see somebody get in and just have that acknowledgement, have that place in like gaming history as being a worthy character to get into Smash. It's just something big. I love that aspect of Smash, and I also agree. I like the gameplay of Smash is great. I love how it's a fighting game and the controls are really simple. It's something I like. I don't have to do crazy combos like I would in like Mortal Kombat or something. Like it's just up and B, down and B, stuff like that. Yet it's still very intricate, even being pretty simple and easy to pick up. I really appreciate all that with Smash, but probably my favorite thing is it being this like sanctuary to all gaming history. So it's the combination of both those things.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mained Ken for like 3 days, but I gave him up because I don't know how to do any of the command combos, how to do any of the command inputs because I never played Street Fighter. So I feel like I wouldn't be able to play as well as the people who've actually played Street Fighter and know the command inputs, and I can only ever do the command inputs accidentally.
Let me tell you that isn't necessarily the case because I have played a lot of Street Fighter and I have a strong knowledge base of Street Fighter. I'm not good at it, but I know all the command inputs for like the Shoto characters. It doesn't matter. Like Ryu and Ken are two of my worst characters in Smash, and so trust me, even knowing the command inputs for like the Hadouken and Shoryuken and Tatsumaki, like it doesn't matter. I still suck with them.
The combo, a very simple combo that I was able to master somewhat. That really carried me when I was playing Ken against the CPU. Was I did double jab into true Shoryuken.
Right. Yeah, that's a good one.
It killed like super early. It's insane. Ken is just like really broken.
He's a good character if you can get the moveset down and everything with him. He's a high skill level character, but he's good.
Yeah, the thing is, like, they both have terrible recoveries too. I mean, they have their horizontal with the hurricane kick, but the Shoryuken isn't great recovery, and just in general, mechanically, I think they're a little higher level in terms of, you know, their complexity than some of the more basic Smash characters. But yeah, certainly when played well, both Ryu and Ken have a high potential. I think they're considered high tier currently. I think Ken is supposed to be a little stronger overall, but
especially after. I think one of the last patches made Ken particularly good or something like that. I rarely really look at the patch notes. I usually just play around until I kind of get the feel of where the characters are at. But I think Ken got bumped quite a bit recently.
I think Ryu and Ken used to be like a below average. Like they were two of the worst characters in the game. And then suddenly Ken became like one of the best characters just because they just buffed his damage so much. He just does insane damage in like seconds. He can kill... A good Ken player can kill somebody from 0 in like seconds. It's just
that's what I like. Yeah, no, that's what I like about Mega Man too. Is that he has a Shoryuken as well. It's the Mega Upper from Marvel vs. Capcom. That thing is one of the strongest up tilts in the game. It can kill certain characters from like 60. It's insane, and of course heavier characters a little later, like 80 or 90. But that thing is so crazy strong, and I just love in general how, like you were saying, Ryu got a little buffed from 4 to Ultimate. I think that's true. But so did Mega Man. And like, oh my god, Mega Man's Flame Sword now is such a good kill move when before only his Slash Claw was and like certain other moves. But Mega Man got buffed heavily from 4 to Ultimate, and it just makes playing as him even more rewarding.
Yeah. One thing I've really noticed about the switch between 4 and Ultimate is that even tiers list aside, I feel like so many more of the characters are playable or competable, maybe not on the absolute highest, you know, like going to Evo or PAX or something level, but at like a local tournament or with your friends, I never feel like a character I pick up is like, ugh, I just can't do anything, or the other character is so much better than me. Like Smash 4 playing against Cloud or Bayonetta just felt like I can't do anything, or my character's just not that strong and there's no kill with this character. I don't feel that at all in Ultimate. It's a very well balanced game considering how big the cast is. I'm very impressed with that.
Now, one of the characters that I like to play, and some people like to play in like local tournaments, but doesn't do very well in big tournaments, is Piranha Plant. I actually main Piranha Plant.
Nice.
When it came out,
Sweet.
I like Piranha Plant. It's a lot of fun.
I used to main Piranha Plant when he came out, and then when Joker came out, I mained him. I pretty much mained the newest character to come out, except Hero. I play Hero a lot, but I still main Joker more because I became a fan of Persona 5 because of Smash and watching that playthrough. So I feel I have a more of a connection with Joker than I do with the Hero. Especially since I feel like I actually identify with Joker more. But
sure,
how I play Piranha Plant in Smash is I use neutral B whenever I can. It's such an insane move. There's actually like a tactic. I just like hold up his Patui into the air and then just wait for somebody to attack me. If they're at like a reasonably high percent, they'll probably die, and just for hitting me. It's absurd.
Nice. No, I agree with you guys. Like the balance in Smash Ultimate is so good. I mean, there are no characters in Smash Ultimate like Meta Knight in Brawl or Bayonetta in 4. Like there's no one who's that impossibly overpowered. Like maybe Hero might get a little close, but I still think it's too early to say. And like the other thing about Smash 2 is like, yes, I main Mega Man, and that's I train with him the most. That's who I play when I'm serious. But we got almost 80 characters. Most of the time when I'm just playing with friends, I play on random. Because I love like 90% of the roster, and I just love the sheer variety of playing like a random character out of almost 80 and 2 random stages on Stage Morph out of 105 now. Like, it's just so fun to have random in that game because there's so much content that you can possibly get.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And also even like Joker is, I think, considered like, super high tier, maybe the best or something. But honestly, if you just look at what just happened at Evo, I think the top 32, there was one person playing Joker who made top 32, and that was MKLeo. So is it Joker that's wicked good, or is it MKLeo that's wicked good? And those out of that top 32, it was like an extremely diverse variety of characters. And some characters I've even heard being very top tier didn't make top 32. So it's impressive. I'm very impressed and very happy with how diverse, especially in a game like Smash that should have diverse matches, given that the game is all about what characters are in there and having a giant roster and everything. I love seeing, in top competitive play, still a large variety of characters in a way I don't think we've ever seen in a Smash game. So I'm extremely happy with Ultimate's ability to do that.
I just want to remind everyone that the only person who was able to defeat MKLeo, who went on to win the whole tournament, was Kameme and his Mega Man. He beat Leo 2-0 and just completely opened him up, and people were like, what the hell? And then, of course, Kameme unfortunately went on to get eliminated by Gluttony's Wario. But, oh my god, he was the only one who could stop MKLeo, which was so cool to see.
Now, I don't play random in Smash because there are some characters like Corrin and Wii Fit Trainer and characters like that, Robin, I don't like the male alts for. I just think the female alts are just so much better. But I don't like them. Sure, I don't like how the male alts look. I don't like how they sound. I don't like the Pokemon Trainer male alt. I think he looks horrible. I think he sounds horrible. There are some characters I like. My brothers sometimes criticize me for consistently choosing female characters over male characters. I actually have a different reason than those people in video games. I just think female characters just tend to look better than male characters when there's actually a choice between like two characters, because male characters and female characters have to have the same perk boxes. So the male proportions will just look a little off, and it's just kind of off-putting.
Sure.
I just kind of go with whatever character, usually whatever game I have an affinity for. That's what I tend to gravitate towards. And sometimes a moveset will make me like a character, but usually I just go with whatever games I like.
Right. I will say that, I agree. I mean, in terms of the male-female alts, play who you like more, but I actually like male Robin and all that, but male Corrin sucks. Whenever I play Corrin, I only play female Corrin.
I like
specifically
both.
I hate male Corrin. I hate his design,
cool.
and he's so whiny.
He's not. They're the same character.
One of his launch vocals just sounds like so annoying. And
screw you guys.
Oh wow.
I just can't with male Corrin. I'm sorry. I always play as pink female Corrin because I think she looks really cool, and I just think the female voice for her has more of a badass attitude to her. Where, like, look, I mean, the thing about male Corrin, he was voiced by Cam Clark, who, like, I'm sorry, I don't buy Cam Clark as a, like, in his late teens hero. I'm sorry, he's Leonardo from the original Ninja Turtles. He doesn't sound that young to me.
Is he?
He is. Cam Clark was,
I actually never watched Ninja Turtles, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That was one of the... I went to a small convention 2 or 3 years ago, and Rob Paulsen was at the convention. He did the original Raphael and like a million other characters, if you know voice actors well. Yeah, I went to a Starbucks across the street from the convention, like in the middle of the day, and Rob Paulsen was right behind me the whole time. And I didn't want to be a jerk, so I didn't talk to him or anything. He was on his phone. I just wanted to let him, have his moment of waiting in line to get a Starbucks. But I was like actually on the inside freaking out a little bit because little 6-year-old me was like, "Oh my god, it's Raphael from Ninja Turtles right behind me."
See, I'm in the camp that didn't know that Rob Paulsen was actually your father until after.
I was gonna say I wasn't sure if anyone knew here.
No, but I can one up everyone else by saying I didn't even know who Rob Paulsen was until Game Explained.
Wait, hold on. I heard you mention your dad earlier. Is your dad Rob Paulsen?
Yeah, so I was actually going to mention, but
and I literally brought him up. I legitimately, I 100% did not know that.
I kind of lose track of who knows and who doesn't.
When I asked if you were related, Ash, I did not know that.
So I always lose track of
because
who knows
of you.
Right, okay. So basically, yeah, I can't remember who knows and who doesn't, but basically it's an open secret. Like, my dad and I have claimed each other on Twitter multiple times, and every single time we do, there will be somebody, at least one person, saying, "Holy crap, Rob Paulsen's your dad," or "Holy crap, Ash Paulsen's your son, you're related." So, yes, Rob is my dad, but I can tell you that you dodged a bullet not talking to him. He's a total asshole. And I'm kidding. Totally kidding. I love my dad to death. And yes, so my dad's Rob Paulsen, and we kind of promote each other. He promotes my Game Explain work. I promote his work, and It's a lot of fun. I don't have time to talk about them today because I got to go soon, but I could tell you guys any number of crazy stories about my dad and his fans and my interactions with them over the years.
If you ever want to come on again, I just feel like all of us together have so much to just keep talking about. Like, we've been trying to go for the past maybe like 20 minutes, and we just keep talking about stuff, and it's so much fun. But, you know,
I can talk about Smash forever.
Yeah, same here. I'm honestly, dude, I'm like beside myself because that came up totally organically, and I feel like it sounds like it didn't, but no, literally, I had no idea that was your dad.
No, I can tell because
about your dad.
I was literally joking when I asked who was related to you.
Yeah, so when he kept saying, "Oh, Rob Paulsen," he's like the voice of Raphael. I knew you didn't know that I was his son because you wouldn't have said that if you'd known. So
yeah,
I heard this is going to be fun.
I heard you earlier say something about your dad, or they didn't bring up my dad or something like that, and I was like just sitting here going, "Oh, I wonder who his dad is. I'll look it up later." I had no idea.
I wasn't sure because I remember what you were talking about, and I was like, "I wonder if they know who my dad is," because I keep saying that. Maybe they don't.
Like I said, I only knew because you had said it on Game Explain. Otherwise, I would have been. And again, I didn't know who Rob Paulsen was because I didn't watch Ninja Turtles when I was younger. And a lot of the voice actors from old cartoons, I didn't know until I got older and paid attention to more modern voice actors. So for the longest time, it wasn't until you kept bringing up the name. I don't want to say kept, but like a couple of times brought up the name. And I said, "Who is this guy?" And then I was like, "Oh, he voiced..." For me, it's like, oh, he voiced Boomer and Brick on Powerpuff Girls. Like the lesser known cartoon characters. It's like everyone else is like Ninja Turtles and stuff, and I'm like, oh, the Radio Boy. Like, so I'm one of the people who would be like, Ash Paulsen's dad.
Nice.
It's like,
well, no, and I appreciate that because like when I was younger, it would and didn't have an audience. It was more like, oh, your dad this and your dad that. But then as I got older and started my own career and built up my own audience in gaming, now like my dad will have people come up to him at conventions and be like, "Oh my God, you're Ash Paulsen's dad!" Like, I love Game Explain. So
it's like the next generation taking over, and soon your dad will be like, "Nobody knows who I am anymore."
Right. I guess I will say one of my many stories about him and his work before I go. I'll leave you with one, and that is that there are two really good ones. Which one? Do you guys want like really, really funny and weird, or something like surprisingly real that you wouldn't expect?
I don't know. It's gonna beat my saw him at Starbucks story, though. I can tell you that.
Probably.
How about whichever one you don't choose, you come back and tell it next time.
All right, fair enough. Well, then I will say that one of my dad's. Sorry.
Leave us on a good one.
Okay, then I won't leave on something kind of depressing. I'll go with the other one, which was that.
Don't give us something depressing.
Well, it's not depressing. It's just a little bit real. This is much funnier.
Okay.
So
let's go on a funny one.
So basically, my dad was Raphael from the '80s cartoon version of Ninja Turtles, and you may also know that he is also Donatello from not the current iteration of Nickelodeon's Turtles, but the previous one, which I thought was really good.
2003, I think, or something like that, like TMT.
No, not that one. There was that one.
Oh, no, you're right.
One
they did the CGI one.
The CG show. Yeah. So he was Donatello in that one, and I thought that was a fantastically done show. In that show, Donatello has a crush on April O'Neil, who's like this 16-year-old, 17-year-old teenage girl. So I've interfaced.
Which one is Donatello?
He's the purple one, the nerd, the genius. The staff user. Okay. So he's got a crush on April, and so I've had the pleasure/displeasure of interacting with some of my dad's more extreme, really weird fans over the years. And so one day on Facebook, I get this message from one of my dad's fans, and they're like, "Aren't you ashamed?" And they opened with that, and I'm like, "What? First of all, who are you, and what am I ashamed of?" And they're like, "Well, aren't you just embarrassed and ashamed that your dad is in an interspecies relationship with like an underage girl?" And I'm like, "What? Yes, because my dad is a turtle? What is wrong with you? Like, actually, not like the colloquial, oh, what's wrong with you? Like, when capital letters, what is wrong with you?" And so I just said the obvious, which was, well, no, because my dad is my dad, and he plays a character who's a turtle who has a crush on a fake 17, 16-year-old girl. Where you, what? And so the guy was just like, well, or the person, I should say, was just like, no, you can't separate an actor from their roles. And just the fact that he would take on such a role, it just really says a lot about his morals. And I'm like, okay, well, this has been fun. I'm going to block you now and have a good day.
Wrote the script?
Yeah. So
he came
apparently,
up with the character who he...
Yeah.
Oh, I don't understand.
So apparently, if you voice a Ninja Turtle, you are also actually a Ninja Turtle.
That'd be awesome.
Ash, on your next birthday, your dad's going to reveal to you that you're part turtle.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how it's going to go. Because of April. He and April got together, and yeah,
your
there you go.
Is actually April.
Yeah. So anyway...
You're actually Ashatello.
Yep, exactly.
Ashatello.
But I figured that's a fun...
that is fun. I was gonna title this episode Dolphindog, but now I feel like I gotta name it something based on that. I don't know what yet. Maybe like Ashatello or something.
Nice.
I don't know. We'll see. I might go back to Dolphindog. We'll see. But yeah, before we start talking about Smash again, let's try to end this. Was there any last things you guys want to say? Anything to wrap it up?
I just wanted to say I want to start a band, hopefully, at some point. I'm gonna be like the lead vocalist. I don't play any instruments, but I want to be like the lead vocalist of a band.
Mm-hmm.
I do really like singing and also like dancing too, so could that be like a thing for a music video? I'm already working with like a guy that started teaching me how to sing.
Sweet. That sounds like fun.
He's been writing. I've been working together. I've been writing a song about a food fight. It has multiple genres in it. So far it has like there's like a part of it that like the beginning is like really upbeat and cheerful, and then it gets more intense as I confront the bully, and there's a point in the there's a point in the song, which was designed to be a music video, that I go up against a Spanish-speaking goon of his, and it becomes like flamenco music.
Very cool.
And
yeah.
There would be and there would be like a duel where I'm holding a fork and he's holding a knife, and we're just kind of dueling like a sword.
I think PapaGenos was the only one who got that reference.
The American Dad reference?
Yes.
Yep, I got it.
Yeah, might be.
But
That's more of a Family Guy.
I like them both. I like them both.
I'm not trying to get famous, but
why not? Might as well.
I mean,
just go for it, man.
Yeah, just have fun.
I shouldn't do whatever it takes to get famous because sometimes trying to do anything to get famous can mess with your head and cause you to do a lot of reckless things.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to take it slow and build my skills so that if somebody recognizes my skills, I might become famous somehow. I also want to be a filmmaker, so I'm hoping that maybe I could become famous through that.
That's actually a really great message because, and actually a really great message to leave off on too, because a lot of people try to aim for fame in ways that they don't enjoy. And because I've heard about this, people said their stories and stuff online, and once they get into that situation where they're famous, they don't have the motivation to continue doing what it was that made them famous because it's not what they want to do. So you really should just do what makes you happy, and if becoming famous is a side effect, then that's great. I mean, look at this podcast. I would have loved to be famous, but that's not my goal with this. I invite on everyone. If you have 0 subscribers or PewDiePie subscribers, I just love the core of this is let's have a discussion on games, and it's so much fun. And every week I send out the mass message to everyone and say, everyone meaning everyone who usually comes on the show, and it's you good for this week? Because it's just, I don't care who you are. If you want to talk about games, you're welcome. So, same with everything, like you said with the singing. If singing makes you happy, sing. If you really enjoy what you do, you will probably become famous for it.
And that's fame really or famous aside, I do think just doing what you love, you will be successful in what you like. If that's what you really like, it's what you really want to do, you're really passionate about it, I think that's where you're going to find success. Whatever success looks like for you, if that's what you love, that's what you're going to find success in, because that's what you're going to have the passion and, just the drive to really do. So,
and I also want to say what we mentioned earlier about networking yourselves. I want to clarify, you want to network with other people who also have that same drive and passion. I didn't mean network with people who are famous. You're not going to get anywhere with that. There's no point in doing that. You want to network with people that are worth networking to you and what you want out of life and what you can provide to them. Because karma exists. I've seen it. And if you screw someone over, they're going to screw you over. Or if not them, you will get screwed over.
I mean, people who equate success with fame are going to end up being unhappy if they don't get famous.
The fame is not the success. The success is the friends you made along the way.
And it's also not, this is all really good advice. It's also not about how many followers you have. It's also about the quality of followers. Like, anybody who follows me on Twitter, and I'm not like, pushing my views on anybody, but, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll notice I'm pretty vocally liberal, anti-Trump, all that. And invariably, someone will say, I don't want to see politics on your page. I'm pro-Trump and this and that. I don't want to, I don't want to see pro-LGBT stuff on your page, whatever. Then unfollow me. I don't want crappy followers. Like, I would rather have my follower count go down than be followed by people who don't share my worldview. And so that kind of goes back into what you said about networking. Network with the people whose values you share and who want to do the same thing as you do. Don't go network with PewDiePie, because he's not a great person. So, that's the whole point. It's like, you don't want to go network with people who, maybe have billions of followers, but maybe don't have the best views on things,
Like my blog where I brainstorm Smash characters and stages, stuff like that. It only has like 10 or so followers because it's a fairly small website, but it still makes me happy. It still makes me happy. I love doing it. I do it for the few people that see it, and I also do it for myself. I just enjoy doing it, and also occasionally I'll copy and paste stuff that I write into a YouTube comment as well. It gets a little more exposure that way, but I do it because I enjoy it. I don't try to do it to get exposure. I do it because I actually enjoy doing it.
Well, then you're already ahead of the game.
This made me a little emotional. I love all you guys.
I know, this is great.
I love you guys. This is really...
What a nice way to end off.
I know,
what a nice
actually,
positive message.
It is. I'm really happy with the way that ended off. I guess, Ash, you have to give us another story now to leave off. No, I'm kidding.
No, because the other one's kind of real, so I'll save that for next time.
But I had a lot of fun. This was like a really fun conversation that we all just kept talking. I could sit here all day and keep talking about Smash. So
really
anyway, what I usually say for anybody new tuning in, and I'm saying this because I know you probably never listened to this before, Ash, but I usually say all the links are in the description, so you could send me all the links in the description. But if anybody wants to vocally say where they can be found, where can we find you guys?
Well, you can find me, obviously, on Game Explain. I'm one of the Game Explain crew. I don't do quite as much content as some of the other guys because it's kind of my part-time thing. But you can find me on Twitter at Ash Paulsen, which is just my name, ASHPAULSEN. You can find me there on Instagram as well. And if you feel like checking a little something new out, go download the NRM Streamcast app on your phone and check out some of our proprietary streaming content, because that's where I work full-time and where I'm going to be creating original gaming-related content for that platform for them. So, check it out, see if it's something you might like. It's all free, and you'll get to see some cool stuff from me on there, too.
Now, are you allowed to say what exactly that entails by video game content, or is it just a broad stroke of anything video game related, or is there anything specific you can hint at? And if not, it's perfectly acceptable.
Not really. I mean, I can say, I mean, we're still kind of working the exact content out. It's not super secret, but I did used to have a blog that I just couldn't keep up with, unfortunately, called For the Love of Gaming. And the reason for that is because I've heard from a lot of my fans, the one consistent thing that I hear from a lot of my fans on Game Explain is that they like my positive, upbeat kind of, just happy rhetoric. And, I reject all the anger and rage and toxicity. Like none of that. Like
unless it's arguing with Andre.
Exactly, totally. And but no, I still get excited about games. Like Pokemon's a great example. Yeah, it sucks about the national decks, and I get why people are upset. But I'm just impressed by games in general these days. The fact that maybe because I'm old and I grew up with the NES. But the fact that I've seen games advance the way they have, I have so much respect for the medium and the craft of making video games that I just like being happy and being excited about them. It's more fun to be happy and look forward to games than it is to be angry and write off a game before it even comes out because of something you don't like about it. So I'm going to repurpose that blog into this show that's going to take the form of some sort of podcast or possibly video and audio show. And it's going to kind of be that same concept, but with a co-host and in podcast/video format. So that's kind of what I'm still putting it together, but that is the gist of what I'm going to be doing.
So video-wise, are you planning on having a studio, or are you planning on doing a more casual online video?
Well, that's the hope is that I'll be able to have a studio someday. Nice. The company is still kind of working toward that. They're based in Michigan, so some stuff has to happen before we can, open up a studio out here. But the goal would be, I don't want to record video from my apartment just because I don't have a cool office space that I can have a cool background of.
Looks like you need to build something real cool.
Yeah, I just wish there was any room in my apartment to do that. We don't have the biggest place.
You don't need a bathroom.
I know, right? Who needs that? But, so yeah, that's where you'll be able to find me, soon. And you'll always be able to find me on Twitter and Game Explain. And if you are going to be at either Michigan Comic-Con or PAX West in the coming weeks, hit me up on Twitter. Just let me know, and I'd love to say hi. I'm always down to meet fans, and I'll be at both shows.
Sweet. And I know PapaGenos and Apocalypso, the usual links will be in the description, unless you guys had any other specific links you wanted to promote.
No, same old. Just PapaGenos YouTube channel. All my other links are all focused right there. So if you go over to the YouTube channel, you should be able to find Discord, Twitter, everything else is all on there. So I suggest going to the YouTube channel.
Sweet.
I was thinking of creating a Twitter profile for just in general for my YouTube channel, and also creating an email specifically for my YouTube channel.
Do it.
So
yeah,
do it. Not to talk to people that way.
Do it.
Do it.
Is that Palpatine?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it was. I couldn't remember who said it, but I remember it, and I was hoping one of you guys would say it. And you did. Yeah. So usually I'll say if you follow my Comic Spirit Legends on tapis.io, I'll give a shout out, but no one ever does because I don't know why. People just don't put the links in the description, I guess. But yeah, I guess that's it. Bye, everybody.
See you later. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thanks for coming on. It's been an honor. I thought I said that already, but in case I didn't, it's been an honor.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
honors all mine. I'm always happy to do any of these. So as long as my schedule's open. So thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to coming back.
Yes, I'm looking forward to you coming back and all of us talking about Smash some more.
Nice.
Until the end of time. Until the next Smash. Forever and ever. SmashBros.com. I was trying to go for a Rick and Morty joke there.
Rick and Morty.
I couldn't think of anything
Nice.
else to say. I blanked out. All right, on that. I'll leave it on that. Bye, everyone.
Later.
And they're like, well, aren't you just embarrassed and ashamed that your dad is in an interspecies relationship with like an underage girl? And I'm like, what? Yes, because my dad is a turtle